The truth is, at some point, we all seek direction, a voice of wisdom, an answer to our problems and dilemmas. What we often don't know is where to find those answers. The stories of Solomon are not just biblical accounts. They are real-life lessons, strategies that still work today, and might just be the answer you've been searching for. In this video, we're going to dive into the stories of King Solomon. Real narratives, filled with practical lessons, that continue to be a powerful guide for anyone seeking to live with more wisdom, balance, and purpose. Get ready to relate, be surprised, and above all, transform the way you see life and make your decisions. International fame. When kings came to hear Solomon. After the temple was consecrated and God's glory was revealed, Solomon's fame exploded. He was no longer just known as David's son or the young king of Israel. He was now recognized as the wisest man in the world. The news spread quickly. There is a king in Jerusalem who has answers for everything. His judgments are fair. His kingdom is prosperous. He speaks about life, the heavens, plants, animals, business, and families. He understands it all. Kings, rulers, merchants, and scholars began to take long, difficult journeys just to hear a few minutes of Solomon's words. And among all those visitors, one in particular stood out, the Queen of Sheba. She was a powerful ruler from a distant land, now associated with southern Arabia or Ethiopia. And when she heard about Solomon's fame, she wasn't satisfied with rumors. She decided to see for herself if it was all true. And she came prepared. She brought with her a massive entourage loaded with rare spices, precious stones, and a great amount of gold. But what she saw exceeded everything she had imagined. The Bible says that when the Queen of Sheba entered Solomon's palace, saw the food on his table, his well-dressed officials, the attentive servants, the burnt offerings at the temple, and heard his wisdom as he answered all her questions, she was left breathless. 1 Kings 10 verse 5. She was speechless. And she declared, "Everything I heard in my country about your wisdom and your achievements is true. But I didn't believe it until I came and saw it with my own eyes. And what I saw is even greater than what I was told." Look at what she said about his servants. "Happy are your men, happy are these your servants, who continually stand before you and hear your wisdom." Solomon's wisdom wasn't just intelligence. It was something alive, inspiring, magnetic. He taught with grace, depth, and simplicity. Those who listened didn't want to leave. And during that encounter, beyond admiration, there was also an exchange of gifts, political alliances, and mutual respect. But what's most impressive about this moment is this. A man who asked for wisdom to serve his people ended up serving entire nations. His fame wasn't driven by vanity, but by purpose. God exalted him so the whole world would know that true wisdom comes from above, and that true greatness lies in serving well. Solomon's wisdom in practice. Eternal lessons from a king who observed everything. Wisdom begins with the fear of the Lord. The first lesson Solomon teaches us appears right in the opening verses of the book of Proverbs. The fear of the Lord is the beginning of wisdom. Proverbs 1 verse 7. Solomon understood that wisdom doesn't start with degrees, age, or experience. It starts with reverence for God. Those who fear the Lord don't act on impulse, don't lie out of convenience, don't compromise their values. They listen, wait, evaluate, and decide with God in their hearts. The book of Proverbs is practically a manual for life. Solomon shows, with dozens of contrasts, how the right or wrong decisions lead to inevitable consequences. There is a way that seems right to a man, but in the end it leads to death. Proverbs 14 verse 12. He talks about the diligent and the lazy, the honest and the deceitful, the humble and the proud. All of this is extremely relevant today. A practical example. A businessman who ignores advice and acts out of greed may grow quickly, but he will fall. But the one who walks with integrity, even slowly, builds something that lasts. Solomon speaks like no one else about the power of the tongue. Death and life are in the power of the tongue. Proverbs 18 verse 21. He shows that a word can heal or destroy, lift up or tear down. He teaches us to listen more and speak less. How many family fights, failed businesses, and broken friendships could be avoided if we applied this today? Solomon wasn't afraid to speak about discipline. He said that to correct is to love, both at home and in life. He who ignores discipline despises himself, but whoever heeds correction gains understanding. Proverbs 15 verse 32. How many times does he warn? Do not be wise in your own eyes. In other words, accept advice. Seek mentorship. Be willing to be shaped. Solomon was a great observer. He saw God in the details of nature, in human behavior, in the seasons of life. Go to the ant, you sluggard. Consider her ways and be wise. Proverbs 6 verse 6. He turned something as simple as an ant into an eternal lesson. It was this ability that made him a profound communicator. He saw wisdom in the everyday. Many thinkers and writers have followed in these footsteps throughout the centuries, and when we look at some literary works, we can see the similarities to Solomon's teachings. We'll explore these comparisons between Solomon and modern-day authors, and how what was written thousands of years ago remains alive today, influencing writers, mentors, and countless people around the world. It's all there, written like a life manual by the wisest king of all time, and it's freely available to anyone who seeks it, accessible to all and for all. When we feel lost, unsure of which path to take or what decision to make, we often forget that help is very close, written down thousands of years ago, like a manual for life. If you're already subscribed to the channel, turn on notifications to be alerted about the next videos in the Saga of Solomon. You have the chance to learn from the stories of the wisest king of all time. And now that the whole world recognizes Solomon, comes the most delicate part of the story. Because when everything looks good on the outside, sometimes the danger lies within. Will Solomon keep his heart in the right place? In the next videos, we'll talk about the extreme wealth and abundance of the greatest king who ever lived, and the traps that crossed Solomon's path.